All right, so now that yesterday's vlog is finally uploaded, I'm going to try and do a quick update on the histamine slash whatever was it plants, was it bugs. See here, this is the parsnip burn. You can see that it's any little pustules they had, it kind of burst and scabbed, and so that's going away. It doesn't itch, doesn't burn. I don't have any contact point spread of any kind of rash, so I don't think there's any poison ivy going on there, unless it's going to be some delayed reaction business. All of the hives that were on my side from love handles to armpits have basically left. So that was an allergic reaction. There's a couple of places with a couple of little scratches on them that might just be places where plant matter from freshly cut grass or stems or driving next to the cedar line or something that cedars will scratch you, and then you'll get a little. I think that's largely what was going on this arm, which now there's almost nothing there. Happens all the time. I do have the little prickly spots under the armpit yet, and I'm of the belief that that is definitely a histamine being filtered out of my body. Few hives underneath my hair on the scalp yet. The bug bites are basically gone. That one's still there a little bit. So, yeah, I think I lucked out yesterday. Did not cover myself in poison ivy. That's always good. So, yeah. Haven't really done much today. I just kind of woke up, had coffee, read some news and stuff, went back to bed, slept off some of this histamine yet because it bogs your system down. Really weird dream I had of an old couple showed up at my house, and by old I mean like probably mid 60s or something, silver haired, retired, still active kind of thing. Showed up at my house and without consulting me or whatever had just started. They removed my swimming pool and were installing a new one, and I was like, "Hi, what are you doing?" And the weird thing is that the pool's up top that way, and where they were at was over here, closer to where the pool was when I was in high school. It was kind of weird, but I was like, "Hi guys, so what are we doing?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we got together and we're gonna replace your pool with this." And I was like, "Yeah, but who asked you to do that?" And it was really weird. They tore the old pool down. They had the means for the new pool there, and for some reason at that point, I chose to walk over to where I store my rifle, pulled it out, just held it by the barrel over my shoulder with the butt behind me, and I would walk back into the room. Of course, the lady's like, "Ooh," and I was like, "So anyways," she's like, "Well, but," I said, "Private property, and you're on my private property in a stand your ground state." So it's like, so you can either tell me who sent you and why you're really here, or you can leave, or I can send you packing. And it was a bunch of mumbledygook and not really answering, and I don't know if my brain didn't know what the answer to that dream was. Two things of interest. One was that the guy specifically mentioned something about money being gathered by the Green Lantern, which is the 10 years ago name of a bar in town that is now just the Irish pub. So it was like, okay, why, what? And then the other, oh crap, now that I said that, I just about reset the whole thing in my brain. Oh yeah, and this one there was, I don't know, at some point, chasing them around the place, there was some weird architecture going on in the house that I think I'm going to have to contemplatively revisit because it was very interesting. Some of it was a little hybrid of former dreams that I've had, other house in the dreams or whatever, but without going into full detail on that now, it was just a lot of raised platforms, stairs leading up to overlooks. It was almost like a version of the some of the cat towers that I've got out of boxes and stuff in here that give the cats love having a high hide. Anyways, let's see. Oh, and the dude chilled out as soon as I told him. I said, "Look, there's not a round chambered, but I'm on my own property, and yes, there's rounds in the gun." But anyway, so yeah, there was this thing about the pool. So I did notice that one of I think it's the hose that leads out to the see, it goes in the filter, goes down through the saltwater catalyzer, and then it goes back into the pool. And where it comes out of the catalyzer and back into the pool, I noticed there's a slight leak yesterday, so I kind of have to get out there at some point with some JB weld or something and try and patch that because I don't have any other hose. And I really don't want my pool to be, drained down too low to filter and unusable otherwise. Eventually, I'll be getting into it. The other thing being that a dream of a pool could have been something referring to the front room, and I knew that would forecast up to an inch of rain today, which thankfully never happened. We got some rain, but not a lot. Definitely no water ingress, so that's good. But anyways, I went ahead and checked it when I woke up. Everything's hunky-dunk, and like I said, I eventually went back to nap some more. Other interesting news, I have to triple check this to be absolutely sure. But I've got some plants that were growing out of the spaces in between the pavers on my front patio, and I ran the plant identifier app on them, and it claims that this is another cannabis sativa, or what do they call it, rudensis, the wild naturally occurring short squat plant, which is basically a non-industrial hemp. But it's got 3 instead of 5 leaves on it, and that was kind of weird. But I've looked it up, and apparently that happens, but this is kind of weird that it'd be happening wild. So there's another plant called agrimony that it might be. And so I have to wait until the flowers blossom before I can find out, because agrimony has like a stem with a whole bunch of like bluebell-like, but they're yellow, 5-petal flowers. And this one has 5-petal flower. It has 1 bud growing out with a flower, and so I have to see if this is going to grow up and have other stems on it, in which case it's not what I thought it was. But wouldn't it be interesting that all of these things that I had thought might be some kind of wild strawberry or something based on a leaf would actually turn out to be a perfectly legal hemp plant that has some kind of a lighting issue, clonal mutation that causes 3 leaves. So I'm going to find out what's up with that. And even if it turns out to be agrimony, that's actually has medicinal properties as well, which is pretty cool. So anyways, cut it short at that. It's already longer than I expected this video to be, but do not appear to have poison ivy. All kinds of cool stuff grows just on a volunteer basis out in my yard. And that weird dream that I'm going to have to go back and explore. A technique I developed when I was about 11 or 12 is self-hypnotic regression. You can revisit the scene of a dream very easily. You can't necessarily populate it with projections as it was, but you could definitely revisit what you recall from it and kind of experience it in a dreamlike hypnotic state. So I may be doing that at some point here, because the architecture of this particular house was very fascinating. It was a combination of this one and, like I said, a few others that I've had with some very odd architecture, and there was some very odd significance to those dreams. So I definitely want to find out what it says about the state of my mind that these particular features appeared within, because the house in a dream represents the state of your mind. So, if the place is messy, state of your mind is cluttered. If you're on the top floor of the attic, then your dream pertains to much higher or intellectual or spiritual concepts. If it is on the ground floor, then it's mundane concepts. And if it takes place in the basement, refers to your root or your primal areas of the mind. There's all kinds of interesting symbolism for me to explore with that. I will say that one of the dreams that this reminded me of, in a way, this is going to run long, see? Now, you won't be getting this video until sometime next week. Basically, I had a dream of a really elongated house. It seemed to be about 10 or 12 feet long or wide, but hundreds of feet long. And it was like a split level. Like, you enter a room, and there'd be like stairs down and branch off. It kind of reminded me of a little bit of some Doom 64 levels. But also... it was a house. There was stuff on the walls. It was kind of an odd construction. It did not resemble a ground floor or an attic. It didn't house, but it was a building, and that was where I lived. And eventually something happened where there were people that were breaking in, stealing things, or doing something. And I manifested what I can only describe as a fireball gun. It almost looked like a living thing. It was had some like barbs coming out the side of it, but it was like, it was like a size of a large super soaker. It was like a two-hander. and it had little like red vents underneath the barbs, and then at the end of it, I just started bloop 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 shooting off these fireballs that acted like the fireballs in Super Mario Brothers. You know, they kind of bounce and move and hit things, and every time they bounced, there would be little splats around it. And when I actually looked up the meaning, I couldn't obviously. Fireball gun is not something that appears in dream dictionaries, but what I did find is that the behavior of the fire, the fact that it created fire, and other inference that can be drawn from various weapon concepts as symbolism, is that there was an almost accidental spreading of information and passion, apparently, because fire, that it implied, except it was all within the confines of this house, whatever this building was, and that I was using this at people that were trying to steal from me, and I don't even know. I think there's implications to that, to the social media situation and everything, but I don't want to try and tie everything back to that. But that's about all I can come up with on that end. So anyways, I'm going to let this go here. If I come up with anything as far as what that dream meant, I suppose I will make some kind of a video about that as well.